Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Friday, August 19th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. Quickly, a couple of clarification points. First one, this number you see over here will still be changing, and then the candlestick you see right there will still be moving around. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time, but I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, BBBY, has been the talk of the town for a while now, and then had some pretty rough news yesterday, which caused the gap down. Although overall, I wouldn't call it today a complete catastrophe. I mean, don't get me wrong, it wasn't a good day, but you just never know when things gap down. If the price is just going to bleed and bleed and bleed all day long. It did not bleed and bleed all day long. In fact, there is a little miniature uptrend that formed throughout the course of the day. But what really stood out to me, and this will mean a bit more to those of you that have watched past videos, is that I talked about the 1650 mark as an area of support, and not to pat myself on the back, but to pat charts on the back as a whole. I mean, beautiful, beautiful opportunity there. Price came down there, got a nice bounce from there, and is still holding above there. So congratulations to any of you that watched previous videos and noticed that 1650 mark. But also moving forward, 1650 remains a very important level. If that level is broken, then there are no guarantees, but really the next overall significant level of support with any sort of break of 1650 would then be that 200 period moving average, which is down there right now around 1125. In terms of areas of resistance, two main levels stand out. First level is going to be that moving average there, the 50 period moving average. And then the second level is that trend line, which I drew a couple days ago, which is kind of irrelevant right now because the price isn't that close to it. But it is a meme stock, so I suppose you never know. Maybe that trend line up there all of a sudden becomes relevant again. But my point is, before you put too much emphasis on that trend line, let's just first see if the price can break back above that purple line there at $20.60. But overall, very rough day today, but we'll see if the price can get some sort of recovery underway on Friday. Next one, DRUG. What a ticker symbol. Drug. But we're looking at drug here. And overall, a very, very eventful day. Volume came pouring in. But what I find interesting about this one, and pretty solid from at least a volume analysis standpoint, because as any textbook or whatever will tell you, that when pullbacks are occurring and all that, you want to see volume drop off. So this time frame right here is where where the price was pulling back. And then check out the volume. I mean, just a classic example of decreasing volume during a pullback. Now, does this mean that for sure guaranteed the price is going to head back upwards? No, of course not. There are no guarantees. But my point here is that just from I guess I could have left that up there because yes, there was this pullback here, but there was also this big momentum move right here. And in doing so, what I've just drawn is a bull flag pattern. So you have a bull flag pattern. You have the volume profile behaving literally textbook, pun intended there, in terms of how you'd want to see volume act relative to the price movement, and not just a question of can the price make a move back to the upside, which is the idea of a watch list, to find unique, to find interesting situations, and not just rush out and buy anything, but to watch it, to observe and see if it does behave in a way that fits your personal strategy and criteria. So if you are somebody that likes to play bull flags and breakouts where the price can potentially breaks up through there, then I definitely keep an eye on this one, especially if you like this price range. Next one, Mnmd, and I like this one because there's a very well-defined area. So let me be very clear. I'm not trying to impress you. I'm not trying to imply that my ability to draw this level or line here at $1.20 is some sort of great discovery or anything like that. I assure you a lot of people have noticed that level. And I say all that because when a lot of people are watching the same levels and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can definitely produce some very dynamic movement. So as I mentioned, no guarantees, but is it plausible? Is it valid to think that the price comes up here, gets to $1.20, and then pushes up through it, that break in and of itself could create quite a bit of upwards buying pressure? That is certainly a plausible thought process to go through. In terms of levels of support, so if you do like to play more so pullbacks, very well-defined level of support established itself right down there at the 92-cent mark. So 92 cents, key level of support. But in my opinion, at least the most interesting dynamic about this one is that $1.20 mark. And can the price get back up to it? And if it can, does it break through? So we'll see what happens. Next one, AMC, and the bleeding continues. Talked about this yesterday, how because the price had broken down, especially that last 30 minutes, it was looking like that 200 period would potentially come into play, and it came into play. But the problem is the price just kept on bleeding further and further below there. So the downtrend now continues. I'm going to, in fact, just go ahead and get rid of these lines up there as they serve their purpose for now. So let's map out some of the newer and relevant levels. So first key level of resistance is just based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance, and we had that play out here. You can see that pink line, which I talked about, was a level of support heading today, but as soon as the price broke below it, you can see those next couple of candles try to break back up above it, but couldn't quite do it. So I'm not saying that the price can never get back above that area. I'm just saying it makes sense why the price did struggle right there, and that moving forward, if there are any sort of bounces, then that first key level will be that 200 period moving average, now valued at $20, and let's just call it 80 cents. In terms of levels of support, got to squeeze things down here a little bit because we're going back quite a bit of ways in the chart's history here. But next key level to watch closely is going to be right down there at $18.50. So $18.50 next key level if the price continues to bleed. But yeah, as of right now, momentum seems to be really fading here. But once again, from a bigger picture point of view, the price is still much higher than what it was. But there does reach a point where you got to just kind of say, all right, you've pulled back enough price. I understand that no price can go straight up. But, I mean, it does reach a point where it's like, okay, you've consolidated enough. And it's starting to really reach that point where the price is pulled back enough so it needs to start to show some signs of strength, or more people are going to start to panic and it's just going to get that much worse. Next, NEPT, and this is a relatively ugly looking chart, but as you longer time viewers have heard me say, there can be opportunity in the ugly, and this is a situation where if you're not good at managing risk, well, you shouldn't be trading in the first place, but that's a whole nother video. But you definitely shouldn't be trading stocks like this, which are definitely looking pretty ugly, looking like they're showing some signs of weakness. But what I find very interesting is there is this former breakout point, which, very well could act as support. Not guaranteed, but logical think it could act as support. So from just a risk versus reward standpoint, is it valid to think that if the price could come down there, find some support, and even if it just bounces up that much, maybe not even, all the way up to that area, but any sort of bounce relative to what was being risked could be a very favorable situation. But let me repeat, this only works if you're going to honor the risk in the first place. Because if you're just going to sit there and hold and hope, because to be fair, maybe this pullback is just going to keep pulling back, and you don't want to be sitting there as it goes below $1 saying, geez, I hope it eventually bounces back up. That's not trading. That's not risk reward trading. That's just gambling and holding and hoping. So again, under the premise that you can, honor trade plans and, manage risk, then you could have a very nice risk versus reward if it comes down to right around that $1.92 mark. Real quickly, I want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online training that I'm offering. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool and how it should be used, how it can be used, and why it's just so powerful in building consistency, then certainly get signed up for the free training. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage. Now, one quick note, because this is actually a live event, couple of things. Maybe you already have something on your schedule tonight. I have 5 kids. I understand schedules can get busy, but go ahead and drop me an email because the live event will be recorded and I'd be happy to send you a link to the replay after it's all completed. Or maybe you're watching this Friday morning, for example, and you've just completely missed it. Again, go ahead, drop me an email and I would be happy to send you a link to the replay after the live event is over and I get the link uploaded and all of that. So like I said, now if you can't make it live, then definitely get signed up. But in those other situations, by all means, please drop me an email. Next one, Pstv, and this is a very interesting chart because it's kind of goofy looking to think that the thing gapped all the way up here, completely collapsed, and now all of a sudden it's starting to show some signs of strength again, which leads to the question of, okay, was this pullback here overblown? Now, I have no idea, but going and referencing back to the earlier talking point, the philosophy of a watch list is just to find those unique and interesting situations, and I would definitely consider this, unique and interesting. So in terms of levels of resistance to watch moving forward, to me, this trend line here carries quite a bit of weight. So keep an eye on that level, which puts the breakout point right up there around, let's call it 95 cents. And if the price can ultimately recover a bit more up to that area, maybe at that point is where you define, okay, the bulls are officially back and it's worth at least seeing if this thing wants to go on another big move to the upside. So keep an eye on that dynamic, assuming you like to play breakouts. As far as pullbacks are concerned, having an interesting level down there at the 70-cent mark. But like I said, in my mind, that interesting level, at least that stands out the most to me, is going to be that resistance trend line up around 95 cents. But yeah, definitely kind of a goofy looking chart, but very intriguing. Next one here, ENDP. And I promise if you watch previous videos, then this one will make a little bit more sense. But talked about that green line as a potential bounce point. And if you don't believe me, just go back and watch the video from yesterday. And sure enough, look at this. Now, let me be very clear. Did I know that for sure this was going to happen? No, I'm not trying to imply that. What I am trying to imply is that that charts are a very valuable tool, and you should definitely, consider learning more about them. So definitely, again, quick plug, get signed up for that training, or go ahead and drop me an email. But overall, huge bounce off that level, which now goes to show, is there going to be more follow through? Because I know some people were talking about bankruptcy and all that. But the thing with bankruptcy is that can cause some very squirrely action. Case in point right here. You would think, oh, bankruptcy, game over. And then all of a sudden the thing shoots back to the upside. But from a breakout standpoint and from a level that I think, so going back to the talking point of self-fulfilling prophecies and areas that a lot of people are watching, you got to think that a lot of people have drawn that trend line based on those 2 points, and they're going to be watching and wondering, rightfully so, if the price can turn itself around, come back up there and get the break. Does that break lead to a whole nother sign and surge of momentum? Only time will tell in that regard, but that by no means is some sort of random area on the chart. If the price does pull back more, then an interesting pullback area right down there around the 35 cent mark, so keep an eye on that. But yeah, no doubt about it, crazy move today. You got the volume ramping up. You got a very well-defined trend line right there, so let's see if the price can indeed get a breakout on Friday. Next, CEI, beautiful looking chart, beautiful looking pattern, and sitting right on the edge of a potential breakout here as the price is knocking on the door right up there at 41 cents. So that'll be definitely a very big question heading tomorrow into Friday, because you got to give credit where credit's due. This last 30 minutes here, which you can see that candle's actually still creeping its way up, which is why I like to do these when the market's still open. But regardless, good, solid. There we go. Wouldn't that be cool if we captured some sort of breakout as I talk here? But I'll keep us moving. But overall, keep in mind, 41 cents, like I said, is that first key level of resistance. If 41 cents is broken, then the next key area of resistance after that would be up there at the 43 cent mark. So 41 and 43 going to be the next key levels of resistance. In terms of pullbacks, for those of you that like to play that, look at it go. It's working the way up. Now I want to almost stall. But any sort of pullbacks right there at 39 cents, you want to keep a close eye on that. Market closes in 3 minutes, so by the time you watch this, you'll just have to ask yourself the question, did the price ever get up through 41 cents? You'll have the answer because you'll know what happens. But in real time right now, I'm not quite sure, but I'm not going to sit here and wait for 3 minutes. But yeah, you'll have the answer, and if the price does break through 41, then you know that the next key level is up at 43. Okay, I just had to quickly show it again. Right now, it is literally testing 41 cents as I speak. So going back, does it break? You'll have the answer to that. Next one here, Tsla Tesla. And this one has been, I don't know, as somebody that watches it and trades it quite a bit, a very tricky one. Not a lot of range today. I mean, it had range, but just a very tight range. So the first level to continue to watch is that $900 mark, as I talked about in yesterday's video. So nothing changes there. But after today's price movement, another level here that I think a whole lot of people are going to start to really be watching is right there at 905. You can see a couple times right there. Price bounced off 905. Once there, bounce off 905. So, I mean, of course, as I've said, no guarantees, but if the price does come down to 905 and pushes down through there, very rational to think that the price at minimum could test that secondary green line, which is that $900 mark. If 900 fails, then at that point, you'd have to, think that there's a good chance that the price goes down there and at least retest that 200 period moving average, which is right now at 895. In terms of areas of resistance, going to go ahead and update and get a new trend line into play. There was a former old trend line that I was following, but now that we have more data, very, very clear that this trend line here is going to be the key level. Just by, focusing on those two levels, you did a fantastic job of forecasting that area right there. So keep an eye on this trend line, which puts the breakout point up there around 924. But in my mind, I'm very curious. It's looking like 905 is going to get tested. So does it hold? We'll see what happens. Next one, INDO, and a nice pattern here. So going back to the talking point, I'm not trying to impress you, not trying to apply this as some sort of secret discovery or great discovery or special talent. I assure you a lot of people have drawn this pattern right there. So let me change this to actually green to represent the bullish part of the pattern. And then to maybe make this all easy to see, let's change it to the same color. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the huge explosion right there. And for you golfers, make it a little bit more imagination friendly. This would be known as a bull pennant pattern. So if you like to play bull pennants, if you like to play the stocks down below $10, then I'd say definitely get this one on your watch list, especially the history of this one. It has made some very big moves in the past, which brings up a very valid question of, is this just the start of a much bigger move? Maybe it's not, but hey, maybe it is, which again is the whole point of a watch list. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here, then definitely get signed up for the free live training. Like I said, it'll be this evening, Thursday, August 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. But again, if you already have something on your schedule, or if you're just watching this Friday and you flat out missed it, the live event will be recorded. So if you want me to send you a replay of it after I get it uploaded, then go ahead and just drop me an email to clay@claytrader.com, and I would be happy to do so. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoyed this format, do two things for me, please. Hit the like button, leave a simple comment. Those two things communicate to me that you enjoy, and as long as I know people are enjoying, I will continue to put in the required time and effort to get this content out to you. So again, hit that like button, leave a simple comment down below, and definitely get signed up for the free training, or at least just send me an email.